All right, hey everybody, this is episode 244 of the BIB podcast, and today we're going to be I'm talking with David, and we're doing, of course, the Panera cast, and we're talking about writing and publishing, and David's going to be joining me at next week for our meetup group here in Knoxville for our, every year David comes and does a meetup with us. And this time around, we're going to be doing writing and publishing and I really wanted David to talk about this because just this past weekend, I had the opportunity to go to Kent Julian's Write It Forward event down in Atlanta, Georgia. And a lot of the stuff that Kent talks about in writing and publishing is something that Dave has actually implemented in a lot of his marketing. And it's called what we call collaborative publishing, which is... Well, we'll get into the meat of that here in a second, but one of the things David's recently done is published a book here for the local Nashville market, which is... Two, actually, yeah, that's right, two books.
In 12 months.
Yeah. So, and to back up a bit, the title of our meetup is How to Write for next week is How to Write and Publish a Book in 90 Days or Less, and then sell a ton of them. Now, the problem that we know with most people that are self-published authors or even guys that have been published through major publishing companies is they never sell a book, What is it? What's the average, the average statistic?
Well, my buddy Greg Stilstra, who used to be a VP of Thomas Nelson, he was like, the average author sells like 260 books a year,
right? Like
2,500 in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about lifetime,
yeah.
And you don't make that much money off a book,
right?
So there's a lot of basically the way I read into that, there's a lot of broke authors. Like there's a lot of broke authors,
and you assume that's not the case.
No,
especially
you think
if you've been published by a major publishing.
And we're talking about
company.
like nice, good published books, and it's not as big as you think, and so. A lot of writers, they think they put a ton in the writing and then they don't do any marketing because they think somebody else is going to do it for them.
Somebody else is going to market it for them.
Yeah.
Because, as we all know, those publishing companies are working hard to market your book.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're literally like on the top of their list. They want to get your book out there. Like, yeah.
Yeah. You are at the top of their list along with 15 other authors who are looking to publish their books.
I think Dan Miller, 48 Days, said that they don't even look at you, and it may have changed now because of the recession, all this.
Right.
They don't even look at you unless you have like 5,000, like you've sold at least 5,000 copies. They don't even
if you
think
have
about
a
it.
track record,
basically
already set up. And if you don't have typically if you don't have a built-in list or at least somewhat of a platform, they're not even going to talk to you. That's but. That's the problem with going through a major publishing company is that, first of all, it's hard to get in for a major publishing company like Thomas Nelson. Second of all, once you do, it's still tough. It's still tough to sell. I mean, these guys aren't out there. They've got other books to promote and publish. And if you're not unless you're, you have you have a name like, Dave Ramsey or.
If you're like a proven horse, if you got a proven,
that's when they pull out the guns. But I mean, if you're not a well-known person, then they're not. I mean, that's a lot of marketing dollars and a lot of time that they're going to be spending. What we're going to be talking about in this meetup is something that you can do. You can sell a ton of books, but you don't need to go through a major publishing company, and you don't need to take the time to spend out writing, a 200-page book yourself. What we're talking about is called collaborative publishing, and it's something that you've done with both of your books.
I've done 3 now. Yeah,
right.
The first one I was like 26.
That's right. Oh yeah. Backing up because
we've been doing this for a long time. We forget
that's right.
how much we've done.
That's right. Yeah, because you wrote the first one, which was Internet Empires back in
2006.
2006.
Yeah,
and that was kind of a form of collaborative publishing, and a little bit different though because that was based on interviews that you did.
I didn't write one word.
You didn't write one word. It was all interviews that you had taken. And talking about how you.
Yeah, I'll tell you the process because it's worked. I wouldn't do 3 books if this wasn't financially lucrative. I would not do it because I'm not a writer really. I mean, I don't think of myself as a writer. I'm a marketer and a salesperson.
Right.
I think about that first before even writing really. But in 2006, I said I want to write a book, but I didn't want to take forever to write it because you know me,
Right.
I'm pretty impatient, and I just want to. I'm a big implementer.
Right.
Like I just go and implement stuff, and there's pluses and minuses, I guess,
Right.
to everything. And so I wanted it to sell, so I put big names. I strategically put big names in it.
Right.
I picked a topic that people wanted to know about, making money online. It wasn't as congested as it was now.
Yeah.
No six,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, that's
You could still do. I could still do that today, but not.
Yeah, right.
You know, there's other things to do. But like,
Yeah.
so I put like Joe Vitale from The Secret in
Right,
there. A
right.
guy named Jeff Walker does product launches, and I had the very first interview on the internet with him, and it was just kind of cool. Willie Crawford,
yeah.
a guy that sold a missile silo home on eBay. Don, I can't think of his name. Don Peters,
Yeah.
big ticket ace, and just a lot of cool people. And then just some people that you just didn't know
Yeah.
about or whatever,
Right.
just because I liked their story.
Right.
And all I did was interview them. Dan Miller, 48 Days.
Yeah. Dan Miller.
And all I did was literally interview them, had it transcribed, had it edited,
Right.
put a cover on it, and then self-published it through Westview Publishing near Nashville. And I sold 3,000 copies. Not tons, but I literally
Still,
didn't spend
that's
any
more than
money.
most- yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was I think 28-year-old kid, I guess kid, you could say. I mean, mid-20s or late 20s, and I did not spend $1 on advertising. And so that was my first one.
Did you have a garage full of books?
No, no. I've never had a garage full of books, and never. Well, I take that back. The only time I've had a garage full of books
Yeah.
are when I ordered them because they were already sold,
already
and the
sold.
people
Yeah.
I just had to deliver boxes of books.
So they weren't gathering dust.
They weren't gathering dust like people. They were literally already sold, and that's what we'll talk about at the meetup.
Yeah.
And I hold nothing back. The books, the two books that I've done in the past 12 months, I've sold 1,200 copies.
Right.
Again, zero marketing.
Right.
Like zero. I didn't spend any money on advertising. I've sold 1,200 books. You can go to Barnes & Noble's, Books a Million, all that, and get it. And that's the thing. I thought about selling before I thought about writing. I actually wrote one chapter of my book, my first one, The Ultimate Nashville Business Guide. You can go, I think there's a link to it on the meetup or whatever. You can go see it on Amazon. That's the book. And then I got other experts, local experts, to do the rest of it.
Right.
And I'll talk about how I sold the 1,200 copies. I'll talk about that at the meetup, how I approached people, how I actually made money before the book was even done.
Before the book was even done. That's interesting to me because you basically, a lot of, the process of publishing is sometimes I think that's the barrier that holds people out is that writing a book is it's kind of one of these overwhelming tasks that people think right out of the gate. How am I going to write a book? We're thinking 150 pages for a book, and I've got so much to put into it. And then even after that, I have the challenge of actually selling the book,
Right.
getting out there and selling the book. Well, you kind of took the approach of I'm going to take care of all that up front before
Yeah.
I write my first.
Yeah.
Word, before I put anything on paper or
Yeah.
I type the first thing on the keyboard, I'm going to make sure I have the content
Yep.
almost completely done
Yeah.
and that I've got copies already sold before I do that.
Literally, I can't even say any better. Literally, that's what I did. Like, I mean, that's literally how I thought.
So you kind of did reverse. You worked in reverse.
Absolutely. Like, here's the thing. Like, if people don't hand you money, you got a hobby.
Right. Yeah,
And a hobby's
exactly.
fun. Everybody
Yeah.
has a hobby. But, like, people going to this meetup and business, you want to be a for-profit business.
Right.
And so, and I'm not saying don't do this. I'm going to give you one way to make money. And you could actually do this for other people. That's the thing. If you didn't want to put out a book, like with you in it, you could literally get experts to do it for you and have a whole business. Our friend Kent Julian did this,
Yeah.
the same concept, and he actually did it better than I was doing it, like
Right.
my first book.
Yeah.
And so once I learned kind of some stuff that he was doing, I applied it to the last two books, and it totally worth it.
Right.
But anyway, one of his books he did this with made $12,000 before they were even printed.
Wow.
12, and he could have, if he wasn't so busy, he's killing it right
Yeah.
now. But if he wasn't so busy, he said, I would love to do one a year.
Yeah.
And I can see how you do that. I've got tons just in
Yeah.
my brain. Like just, I think about one I'm pretty sure I'm going to do about marketing or whatever. But in this meetup, I'm going to talk about the process, how to approach people,
Yeah.
how to get people to be happy to write you a check and buy a bunch of books at one time. I've done it. You know, this is not something I've read in a book.
Right.
It's actually, you know, what I've done. And one of the things I was telling Jonathan that I'll do, and I can't, you know, promise anything but I wouldn't promise if I didn't feel like I could do it. But
Right.
everybody that comes to this meetup, I'm confident I could give you a good book idea.
Oh, yeah.
At least one book idea. I mean, you've known me for long enough.
yeah.
Like my creativity, I feel like is one of my strong points. I
Right.
feel like I could actually give everybody that comes to this meetup at least one book idea that you could literally just run with.
Yeah.
In your
think
niche, whatever thing it
Yeah,
is.
whatever it is.
You know, if you're in health or, you know, nutrition or marketing or real estate, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I could totally, you know, give you that idea at this
I
meetup.
think most people, I think everybody, if they think long and hard enough, has something that they could write about, something that they could publish and put out there. And it's something that could be added as a benefit to your business. I mean, think about think about your clients. You know, like you said, they no matter what industry you're in, whether it's real estate, if you're in the mortgage industry, if you're in the if you're a real estate agent, if you're, you know, it could apply to anything. If you publish a book, that separates you from, you know, 95% of your competition.
Well, that's
out there.
that's what I was thinking. Like in 2006, I'll tell you what got me to actually do the book in the first place was I got to know Jason Oman, who wrote the book Conversations with Millionaires.
Right.
It was a best-selling book.
Right.
And then a buddy of mine named David Fry worked for a big consulting firm, and he knew a guy that had this book. And he said it wasn't even that good a book.
Yeah.
But like when he would share it with a prospect, he said they would just melt. He said he just watched them. It was amazing. Right. And he said the book wasn't even that good, but the fact that he rolled a book out and said, "Look, here's more information on the topic."
Right.
That's actually what got me. Those two stories of actually what got me to actually, I say, write a book, publish a book, in the first place, without writing one word. I didn't write one chapter in my Internet Empires book, and I guess you can still buy it. I don't even
completely transcribed.
Yeah, completely transcribed and edited, and you know, it was just boom, boom, boom. I mean, and then you just, if you have like a team, when I say a team, meaning like, you know, you just get you need a graphics person for a book cover.
Right.
You can get them everywhere.
Yeah.
You need an editor.
Right.
You know, I went in and did mine. I didn't do it the first time, but like now I do it just because I want nice, good products. I was, you know, just a kid, and you know, I wanted to put out good stuff, but I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. But now I have a layout guy that lays out my books so they look great. You know, I don't want to put out anything that I'm embarrassed about.
So most of the people that you interview, do they end up getting copies to give out to their? I mean, that's the value of this.
Yeah.
Is that, do you see? I mean,
people will sell for you.
Yeah, people sell for you because people that are in your book, people that are being featured in their book, obviously want to promote it to their list. And in this latest book that you did, or the latest book on the Ultimate Nashville Business Guide that you did, each one of the people that contributed to this book, you had an agreement up front that they would buy how many copies each? Or
at first it was 50, and then I made it 100, I believe, as the second one, and I actually marked up the price and And
so they had to buy it at retail at face value price, or did they give that?
They got wholesale. It was like a couple dollars a book.
Right.
But I'll just tell you a little secret, and I'll tell you how I did this at the meetup or whatever.
Right.
So you got to come to the meetup. But
Yeah.
basically, you guys are going to be blown away by this. Okay. The second book I did, which is a women's book, it's called The Ultimate Nashville Business Guide. It's the women's edition. People paid to be in the book. Like, people wrote me a check.
Right.
And they were, like, thrilled to be in the book.
Right.
Like, I didn't have to, like, pressure them or anything. And so I made a few $100s up front.
Especially after the first one that you did.
They saw
it. When they knew that you've done the first one, it makes it so much easier to go to people and say, listen, here's a list of, here's my first book. If you would like to be in the second volume.
If you would like to be in it.
Focused on women alone. Then here's what you have to do, you know.
And that's the thing. If you put out something that, like, people want, the information, it's got to be something that people want, people benefit from, like the end user, and also the experts in the book.
Right.
You know, everybody will benefit from that book. Like, everybody in each chapter. You think like if I pass out a book, I'm actually promoting everybody else in that book.
Right. Right.
You know, and so like you can actually multiply yourself. Somebody right now is probably reading my book or talking about my book, even as we're doing this podcast.
Right.
And that's a cool thing. That's what you can do.
And you've had somebody, at least one person that I know of for a fact that was in your book that went on the local Nashville, one of the Nashville stations.
Oh yeah,
here,
that's right. Yeah.
and was promoting that book. It was your book. But because she was,
It's on Channel 4.
yeah, she had a section in it. She was actually on the.
Well, she wasn't even in the book. She actually was had an event.
Ah, okay.
And then she took a couple books and she what was it? We're just like had like a promotion deal, but I didn't know it. But she said, "Hey, can I take this on Channel 4 with me?" And then there was my book,
Right.
and I was like, "Oh man, that's
Yeah.
crazy cool." Because you know, obviously the women's book, I didn't write. Well, I kept my chapter from my original book in
Right.
there, so I didn't write anything in the original in
Right.
the next book. I just put my chapter in the back,
Right.
you know. But now I can say as seen on Channel 4,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And again, it's people are out. The key is people are out promoting it.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Right.
Like that's a big thing. I'm not going to teach you
You're
like
multiplying your efforts by
yeah.
however many people that you have in your book. They're out
Yeah.
there.
I'm not going to tell you what a pronoun is at this meetup, or I'm not going to
No.
talk about adverbs
No.
and editing.
No, we're not talking about writing here.
That's what we pay people to
talking
do.
We're talking about something that most authors don't know how to do, which is sell.
Yeah.
Sell and market. It's like I always go back to the old story of Robert Kiyosaki tells about the girl who made fun of him because he was not a well-known author, but he's like, he was like, I don't have to know how to write or be a grammatically
It has to be
correct.
best-selling
Yeah.
author. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a best-selling author. I didn't say I was the best.
Well, that thought right there, I read that when I was probably like 22 or so, and that like was ingrained in me because like every single project I do, that's all I think about, especially with the books what we're talking about now, is just selling it.
Yeah.
There's a gal I'm thinking about right now that published a novel not too long ago, and I just saw on Facebook that she's already like trying to do another book, and she's not a big time author. She's just just a.
Right.
I know good and well, like she's probably not selling a bunch
not
of her
sold,
other books because I know what it takes to sell
Yeah.
books, like
Right.
and how much effort and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and especially if it's not the collaborative effort that we're talking about,
Right.
the collaborative marketing. I mean, you can do it really
Right.
pretty dang easily with this, but people are so scared to actually get somebody to give them money, and so we talk about like sponsoring books, and these are things that that I'm doing now to where I'm getting people to sponsor my book.
Right.
And so, we'll talk about that at the meetup and just a lot of cool things. But that's the focus, getting other like collaborative, different ways to do it, how to approach people, how to get people to actually write you a check and be happy about it. What else? I want to give everybody there that's interested in this topic an idea on another book or on the first one. And, you could literally do a whole business just that. I probably got like maybe 4 people that help me put the book together, 3 or 4 people, the book layout, the editor, I usually use 3 or 4 editors, and then a graphics person, and then the publisher, or I'm the publisher, but like the person to print it or whatever, the company to print it. That's it. So it's just duplicatable.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you just come up with the idea and the titles, and so I mean, it's huge.
And so you right out the gate, you were able to sell even before you had the first. Even before you had the first book printed out, you were able to sell. I mean, automatically, you had in place at least 800.
Yeah, I think it's close to 900.
Yeah, about 900 books sold. I mean, right out of the bat. So, and that was before the first one got printed. So, therefore, I mean, you basically not only have you covered your costs, but you're pretty much making. I mean, you're in the positive right out the gate.
Well, the thing is too, like with a book, is you're actually buying. Like there's that, and then you're also buying like shelf space in people's offices.
Right.
They're usually not going to throw away a book.
Yeah.
And so that's the cool thing about a book versus other things. I'm not saying don't get a business card or anything like that, or do flyers or anything like that. I'm saying do all of it.
Right.
To be honest with you, do all of it.
Right.
But the thing is with a book, they don't want to throw it away or give it away, especially if it's a topic they're interested in.
Right.
They don't really want to they want to keep it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to throw away and the plus side of that is you use CreateSpace. Is that right? Or no,
I didn't this
you
time.
didn't. No,
I used
that's
Lightning
right.
Source.
Lightning Source.
Yeah.
But it's still super cheap to have those printed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you can give away copies of that as like what we call a glorified business card. But they, like you said, they're basically a business card or a tool, a tool of your own marketing that people aren't going to throw away. They're not going to get rid of a book.
That's what my client is doing. And you got to know your numbers. A lot of times people are scared to do that, but like people, I'm not saying don't sell your book. I mean, I sold 2 this week. I don't know if you saw that. Like 2 people. It's called the Ultimate Nashville Business Guide, but Georgia and
they're not even
Alabama.
They're not even in your.
I don't even know where
local market.
Yeah, I don't even know where they came from. And I had 2 people on Amazon or go to my website and buy, which is interesting.
Right.
But if you know your numbers, I mean, you can give them away. And like I've got a client that's going to order I think 500 of them and just give them away. But like his client, one client's probably worth like 10 grand to him. And I mean, I could really give them away for my consulting. Like if one client is worth at least probably 2,500 to me, I could probably give away 1,000 books. And out of the 1,000, you think, is somebody going to hire you out of 1,000 books? There's a really good chance. Yeah. It's a numbers game,
And the great part about this, even though it's a collaborative effort, is that your name is on the front of this book, and your website is all over the book.
I actually designed it. I'll tell you a little tip on that. Yeah. If you go look at men's health or women's health books, like in the exercise section, I modeled my book cover after the Ultimate Biceps Guide. Actually, that's how I modeled it, and I got away, and it looks good. It doesn't look like tacky. Yeah. That I put my web address right on the cover of the book, but it's like, it doesn't look weird or anything. Yeah. So now my web address is right there. It's right there. Just
and you basically own that book that everyone has contributed and put forward. And you'll kind of get in at the meetup. You'll get into like any agreements or anything that you have to put forward as far as written agreements or anything like that. You also talk about the fact that you're able to get this into, which most people have problems with. A lot of people have problems getting into bookstores. Yeah. You were able to get yours in, what was it?
You can go to Barnes & Noble's, Books a Man, anywhere and get it. Yeah. It was kind of cool to go up to in Barnes & Noble's here, actually up the street here, and be able to order my own book. I thought that was kind of cool, considering I dropped out I've failed English 3 times and, all this stuff. So, English teachers,
which is exactly the point that we were talking about. Yeah. It's the English majors will complain that, well, I mean, what do you know about writing a book?
Right.
But it's not the writing part's the simple part. In all honesty, the real challenge is once you get that book done, is can you sell it? Can you get out there and market and actually sell the book? And the sad truth is most authors out there, or most people that are publishing, they get all excited when they do a book. They get excited when they finally get it done, and it's like, oh, it's their baby. They're like, I put so much effort into it, but they don't know where to go from there. They don't know how to market. They don't know how to publish it, and they're hoping that somebody else will be able
so
to
good.
do the job.
Yeah, it's like, but the thing is, there's lots of great books out there, but it's just, they just get drowned out by, there's like thousands of books that get published every year, and I mean, you just got to be a self-promoter. Yeah. People are scared about that, and I think that's why people that are more introverted, that probably are actual writers, the easy thing for them is to go back and just start writing again, and they'll justify it in their brain. But if you want to do something and you got a message, whatever it is, maybe it's fiction, maybe it's nonfiction, or whatever, get it out there. Spend more time thinking about marketing. A lot of people think that's like a bad thing, and they kind of shy away from it, but that's what pays the bills.
That's what gets the books sold. Amazon's not going to do it all for you, and you can get your book on Amazon, but there's only so much. Amazon can do for you too, and they take a ton of the percentage of your sales too in the process. Yeah, and
I got another trick on that. I'll tell at the meetup about that. I just learned this.
Oh, good. So August the 22nd. That's Thursday, August 22nd at 7 p.m. And you can go to KnoxvilleMarketingMeetup.com, or you can go to the meetup page, like meetup.com, and look under Knoxville events, but you'll find our meetup there. Our How to Write and Publish a Book in 90 Days or Less. David Dutton's going to be there. It's going to be a blast. And if you can't make it, if you're, because we're posting this on our BIB podcast. So if you're nowhere in the area, if you can't make it, I'll have a sign up link that you can sign up for the video that you'll have access to, and you'll get the complete video of that. And you'll get to hear the whole presentation. We'll have it on video and everything like that. We'll have.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. We'll have the video. We'll have the video files, the audio presentation.
I always deliver. Like always, I hate when people waste
really
my time, and so I always I want.
You do. You really.
I want people to do something with this content. So.
We have David every year in August about this time to right before the fall kicks in, and it's for this very reason because he brings a lot of good content. Mm-hmm. And we're excited to have him once again. So
and we're going to hang out afterwards.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We always hang out.
We always
have a little kind of party at Bailey's or something.
Yeah. Actually, Bailey's in Knoxville. So if you don't live in the area, I'm sorry, you'll miss out on some fun.
Tough luck on that.
David, thanks again. And as always, you can if you have questions or comments, you can send them to us over at info@bibpodcast.com. Thanks again once again. Hope you can join us on August 22nd, 7 p.m. That's on a Thursday night. That's as of right now. That's next Thursday. So it's right around the corner. So,
oh man, yeah. Glad you told me.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll see you guys then. Take care. Have a great week, and God bless.